everyone, and welcome to Roll and Keep Phantom Tabletop's weekly show that's all about playing, teaching, designing, and learning about settings primed with the Cortex role-playing system. This is your first time with us. Thank you so much for joining. You picked a mighty fine place to start because today is the first episode of our holiday special. We are going to be playing Tales of Xadia, the Dragon Prince role-playing game, which is an upcoming TTRPG based on the Netflix show, the same name, by Wonderstorm. You can find the free rules primer, 2 free tales, 12 ready-made characters, and more, including the ability to pre-order the book at talesofxadia.com. Tales of Xadia, if you don't know, is primed by Cortex, a TTRPG system that provides the tools you need to build your own customized RPG setting. You can learn more at cortexrpg.com, or if you're lucky, you might win a digital copy. Here today, we're going to give away copies whenever any of the players here gets a heroic success. You'll know what that is when we get to it, so don't worry too much about that. But who are these lovely people for this lovely holiday time? Well, I am Millie Doucette, Community Manager for Cortex, and we have actor, improviser, and storyteller Eliza Pearl. We have TTRPG creator, performer, and D&D Adventure League Community Manager B. Zelda. And we've got Emmy Award winner and founder of Jasper's Game Day, Fenway Jones. And our very fearless narrator, Cortex Prime, and Tales of Xadia designer and creative director, Cam Banks. Cam, take it away.
Thank you, Melly. Oh, it's so good to see all of you here. I can't believe what an awesome cast we've got today, and I'm looking forward to getting things rolling. So without further ado, I guess, do we have like a rolling intro thing, Melly, or is it just going to go straight into this? Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I know.
Thank you, voice of God, for informing us that we are going to go straight into this.
So, we start in the Riverlands of Durin, on the border between Durin and Catullus in the world of Xadia. This is across the border into the lands of humans. Those of you who have been with us before have known we've adventured with Tales of Xadia out in the lands of elves. Now we are returning to humans and the world that they want. The two figures we close in on as the camera sweeps over this world, this wild landscape of rivers and growing, rolling hills, slowly moving towards the west, is I would call it a cart, a wagon, some kind of conveyance. There is a very unruly horse that's pulling it. Doesn't seem to be very happy with the growing colder air. And there are two elves, one of whom is sitting on the back of the horse and one of you who is sitting in the cart. And I want to introduce these two by giving it to the elves, in fact, to explain which of them is on the horse and which of them is in the cart, who is having the worst time of it, and what is the conversation like. And you've been with each other for some time now, but this is when it's really getting to be kind of arduous for both of you. So Eliza, how about you introduce your character and tell us about them?
I am playing Eljaal, a Moonshadow elf, they, them. And Eljaal is an assassin who has not been home in a while because their last assignment as an assassin didn't really go well. So they've been just finding things to do out in the world and broadening their horizons as they do so. And so they're usually pretty neutral in terms of things don't usually either excite them or scare them very much. They're very steady and calm. So when you see them emoting, you know something is up, like something's very major is happening. And that's Eljaal. Should I say whether, well, I guess we can decide.
Yeah, you can decide amongst the two of you. I mean, okay. If you like, you're a Moonshadow elf, but your companion is not. B, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so Bineta, she, her, tall, bronze skin, beautifully large hair, this fabulous headpiece, a sword that I have always on me. You never know when you're gonna need a sword. So like she's definitely the one on the horse, because like whereas Eljaal is kind of like stoic, boring, monotone, uninteresting, Bineta has just had enough of trying to deal with them. She likes to talk, she's full of pep, maybe a little bit too much because it can kind of be viewed as aggression. But, as a Sunfire elf, it's just, you can be a little passionate. Plus, on top of this horse is the only time that you get some of the sun's rays. And being inside that gross cart is not something she wants to do.
So, Eljaal, how do you feel about this sort of arrangement? Have you been having the same kind of response to the past few hours, perhaps, of conversation or lack of?
Yes, I feel like it's we are yin and yang, and Bineta does need more interaction than I typically do, and it's been hard to kind of introvert with Bineta's extrovert.
I've been talking to the horse for the past hour. It has more responses than you do. I hope you know that, Eljaal. And she'll shut that back to the carriage.
Did you say something?
No, just talking to the horse. And it'll like whinny a little bit.
All right.
In the distance, you can see that the border between so the nation of Catullus is to the south and Durin is to the north, but bridging both of them to the west is Delbar, which is a very mountainous, rugged and wild kingdom. And you're approaching that because that's the direction you're going. And this is a path you have been along before, Eljaal. This is a well-trod path for reasons that you haven't necessarily disclosed to everyone. But you know that this is, when you were last here, it was summer. It was bright, it was clear, you could see your way through everything, which obviously made things that you were trying to do a little bit more difficult. Now you see the dark clouds, the gathering storms, the rain has happened a couple times and it's been colder and colder. The land itself seems to be recovering from a lot. There's been obvious troop movements through here in the last few months. There's been whispers of war, which you've obviously been present with. But now here in this heartland, you can tell that the people have withdrawn. They're starting to go to their home communities. They've started to take their way off. There's no one on the roads. And you know that this is going to be a completely different time of the year for you, basically, than it was last time you were here. So it's new for you, but also you know the way, which is the one thing that Bineta does not.
And probably every 30 minutes to 15 to 30 minutes, she turns back and will ask consistently, are you sure we're going in the right direction?
The last time you asked that, Eljaal kind of like sits up straight, smells the air. Yes, this is it. And they turn and just look down the road and say, yep, just up this way.
I'm pretty sure we passed that tree.
What?
That tree, that we definitely passed that tree before.
No, a lot of trees look the same, but they're different, each and every one.
Beg to differ, but sure.
So I'm going to have us do our first test of the game.
Ooh.
This is basically because although you've been here before, Eljaal, and obviously, like I said, this is a well-trod path as far as you're concerned, you also know that the landscape has changed, that the weather and different climate and so forth. And also you've been putting up with this on the horse for some time. It makes things different when you're with someone when you're by yourself on a mission, right? So the test ahead of you, the task that you have to accomplish is actually finding your way. You need to get yourself to the border without obviously having anyone interact with you and get in the way. You don't want to sort of get too involved in anything local, but also you don't want to be going around in circles over and over again like someone has been suggesting. There is a river that seems to go straight. However, it has tributaries and there are streams and some of it has frozen over already. So is it the same place? You're not really sure. So I'll start out with a test in Cortex Prime and Tales of Xadia, especially a test is one where I roll some dice to set the difficulty, and then you roll a pool of dice, which you'll have determined from your attributes, your values, distinctions, any assets that apply, and any specialties that apply. You'll take that pool and you'll roll them as well. You'll take 2 of the dice that come up as your total, and you'll save 1 for an effect die, which will give us an idea of how well you've actually done. Now, Elisa, you've done this many times before, but we'll have you make this dice pool come together for us. But before you do, Let me drag some dice out and see if I can get a difficulty for you. It's not going to be too hard.
Ooh.
Like I said, you have been here before. I'm going to give you a D6. I'm familiar with this place asset. So you'll get a D6 you can add in as you like. That's bonus to everything else. But it is going to be difficult around about a D8, 2D8. Okay?
Okay.
So I'll drag that into my pool here. I love our tools.
Yes. I
And
always
also,
love seeing the digital dice rolled on screen.
the fun thing is, whenever Melly's narrating a game or being a GM for this, it depends. Maybe she'll roll absolutely awful for the first half of the game, and then everyone else will be bad, or it's the inverse. And I don't know. It's been a while since I've had to do this. We'll see.
Yeah. See if it treats you as nicely. Ooh.
Oh, look at that. So I got a total of 9. So 9 is the difficulty that you have to beat with yours.
Okay.
So why don't you walk us through the different dice you're going to be adding to your pool, starting with your attributes, and we'll see how are you trying to achieve this. This is the whole point of putting a dice pool together. All these things are factors that contribute to whether you succeed or fail.
Okay. Yeah, I think definitely using my awareness to see where I am and where we are and base it off of prior knowledge and where we need to go.
Mhm.
And then values, let's see. So devotion, glory, justice, liberty, mastery, truth. I think, glory actually says something about traveling. It says, I've traveled far and hope it was for a purpose. That
Mhm.
feels pretty apropos for this.
Ooh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
So awareness, glory.
Going with glory, are you trying to sort of leave some sort of mark upon Bineta too, and sort of show, oh yeah, I'm
Yeah. It's also a point of pride at this point. Yes. Yeah. Like I know where we're going. We're good.
Sure.
And then Moonshadow, of my distinctions, I think homesick assassin actually makes the most sense for reasons.
For reasons, yep.
And then specialties, sneaking and swordplay definitely won't come into practice. But can we say sneaking does? Because you said we're trying not to like ruffle any feathers locally and things like that.
Yeah, now interestingly, sneaking can be individual, like you'd imagine, hiding around corners and trying not to be seen. But you could apply that same knowledge to a little bit larger of a situation. So you're taking the right paths to get away from. So I'll let you use that. No problem.
Great. And then my elven sword staff doesn't really come into play here. But I also have that D6 asset. I know the way, I think is what you called it.
Yep.
So I'll drop that in, and that's a pretty good dice pool.
This is a beautiful dice pool. I suddenly feel more confident we're going the right direction already.
Okay. Once you see Eljaal's dice pool, well, let's see how many hitches I roll. I knew it. I knew it.
What?
But like you also had really good rolls on the things that didn't get those ones.
Right. Now, interestingly enough, this is a great example of how Cortex plays out, because Elisa, you roll 2 hitches, which normally what happens with that is something has gone wrong, right? And I can buy those from you by giving you a plot point. And I will do that, so you can have a plot point and add that to your currently you've got 1, so you can make it 2. But also I get to add some stress to you. And the stress will start out as a D6, but it will be 1 more step for each hitch you roll. So you roll 2 hitches. So that will be a D8 stress. On the other hand, you also got a 15, which was more than 5 past what you had to beat. So you got a heroic success. So you did a really, really good job at what you were trying to do, like really good. However, something went awry. And I'm going to probably leave that to Bineta to tell me what kind of stress do you think that Eljaal has taken in this process. The stress types, as you can see from your sheets, there's afraid, angry, corrupted, which is mostly associated with dark magic and probably wouldn't be appropriate here, exhausted, injured, and insecure. Any one of those could be a stress type. You can be taken out of the scene if you take too much stress. So it can be kind of a problem. However, I don't think you'll be too taken out with this one. So let's just say, I would love you, Elisa, to describe how well you did. What was so amazing about this and why you did so well? And then Eljaal, you tell me, Bineta will tell me what it is that actually went wrong and what kind of stress the Eljaal took.
Okay, so as we come upon the next stage of like going across along this river, I actually notice a little pathway through the wood that it's not super great for a horse and cart, but it's manageable. But I recognize this. This is a pathway I took before, and I know that it avoids like some checkpoints up ahead and some local snooping townspeople. So I see it and I say, "That's the way. This is the shortcut I was telling you about." Okay, turn.
And I think as we turn, the horse's like the wheel gets stuck in the dirt and the axle just kind of breaks off on it.
Oh no.
That didn't sound good.
That's definitely your fault.
What? How's it
kind
my
of serious
fault?
do you think that will be for Eljaal?
It's exhausted. I feel like you're just sick and tired of this trip. So exhausted feels like a good a good consequence.
Yep. So Elisa, you found an amazing trail. In fact, you even start off on it, but as you get there, you realize that this is not the road for horses and carts. And unfortunately, this wagon is no longer going to be fit for any kind of travel. It looks like you may have to travel on horseback. Or obviously you could choose to run alongside Bineta as she rides through it. You take D8 exhausted stress.
Ooh.
Okay. I hop out of the cart, take a look, and I say, well, that was good while it lasted, but it's fine. I will walk alongside, and if I get tired, I'll just hop up there with you.
I don't think this horse is going to want to talk to you, but sure. Sure.
I don't think I need to talk to a horse more than a couple of words to get it to go.
Okay, yet again, we disagree. Eljaal, come on. Fine, I'll get my things. I'm gonna walk next to the horse for now, just because I think she deserves a break. But you ask for permission before you ride her.
All right. How do I know if she says yes or no?
She'll neigh back. You got to ask, like, in paragraph form, though. She really enjoys the conversation and the sounds of, our voices.
I will keep that in mind.
You gotta make sure you speak. You gotta vocalize, stop whispering.
Okay.
And I think we set off kind of grudgingly, and like Bineta's just like whispering like nonsense to the horse, like, Eljaal, they'll never understand you. You really know what's up.
Eljaal, you're convinced the horse was looking at you with one eye like this, like eyeing you, very scrutinizing you perhaps as to whether you're even worth any time being spent with you, and then occasionally just as Bineta calms it down and gives it more encouragement.
I think you're giving that horse the wrong idea about me. I'm actually very likable.
Says who?
Says a lot of people.
Are they imaginary people?
No, but they're also not horses.
Okay, well, I've only had you and this horse for the past little while, and frankly, this horse has been more entertaining.
I don't know. I've run out of things to say, Bineta.
You haven't said anything. You've only said we're not going in circles. We're on the right road, and frankly, we're not on the right road because look what happened to the wheel. It is broken.
I ran out of things to say because we know where we need to go. You've told me where you needed me to take you, and I'm taking you there. What more is there to say?
Well, I'm skeptical of you. I wouldn't mind a play-by-play on exactly where we're going, what we're going to encounter, every single pothole that we would have stepped in. Am I going to roll my angle now because of you?
I'm going to take... Eljaal takes a deep breath and then just unloads all of this to Bineta again.
Yep.
So, like, where we're going, why we're going. Can you tell us that again? Narrator.
So, yes, the short form of this is you're heading towards what will be a bridge that crosses over a large river into the realm of Delbar, and immediately you'll be in the lower foothills of some very, very tall mountains. After that bridge, all of it is going to be up through ledges and ravines and other kinds of sort of pathways going up the mountains in the direction of the capital city, which is Hinterpeak. You're not really going to Hinterpeak because I think that would be too much for the two of you to try and do. But Bineta, one of the things you're pretty certain of is that you'll have more understanding of what's going on with the sort of the cultures and things if you get exposure, especially to Delbar, right? Okay. So, but that's not going to be too far off from you. I think you know the pathway now, Eljaal. In fact, you're absolutely certain with that heroic success, you know you've got the best and most direct way. No one's going to see you leaving Catolis, and no one's going to see you entering Delbar as far as you can be aware. So we'll shift from this scene and we'll move over to our other two characters in this drama. We see a large and very wide tributary. Well, it's actually not a tributary. It is a river. It is huge. It comes in from the ocean, from the Independent Isles, snakes its way up to the northeast, and skirts around the very edge of this huge mountainous range of peaks, which to the left of you is Delbar. Behind you, as we see, and you can see over, from the distance as the camera's coming zooming in, there is a vast area of islands of swamps and murk and darkness, and it seems very foreboding. It's actually kind of not foreboding. Evenearean is a wonderful kingdom that we all know is full of literate and happy and very friendly people. You wouldn't think that, though, based on the expressions of one of the people on this boat. You're in a boat. It is a sailboat. You have been able to catch the winds. You know how to do this. It's a marsh boat, but it also carries itself quite well on these rivers, heading up to what you know is a border post station and a bridge that crosses into Catolis. One of our figures, like I said, very dour-looking individual, has a companion who is also not necessarily the most cheerful and bright of individuals either. And I will allow the two of you to introduce yourselves. We'll start, I think, with Fenway, if you want to introduce your character, and maybe a little bit about why you're heading this way and what you're doing.
Sure. So I am playing Ponmalar. They are a archer, very skilled, was a soldier at one point in time, but wasn't very happy with how that was going, and so they decided to go on their way from they left, maybe not in the most heroic form, from their duties as a soldier, and then they found this their friend of theirs, hunting for magical ingredients, and then I've been ferrying people out since.
Right, so yes, you encountered your companion in the border swamps, which are the very edge of Evenearean, far from the many floating towns and communities that will otherwise look at you as if you were, they wouldn't look at you very favorably at this point, right? To those who are unaware, and maybe you haven't seen the show, but the Evenearean had a queen, Queen Farida, who is no longer with us. She was assassinated. So was, in fact, the king of Delbar. Several other kings and queens were taken down in the recent events. So since the queen has passed, things have been very different in Evenearean for you. And so unlike some of the more loyal people, many had tried to flee the borders and maybe make their way somewhere else. Interesting point to make, by the way, is that Delbar and Evenearean do not get along very well, traditionally. Who is your companion, though, Ponmalar? And maybe we'll have them introduce themselves as well.
Yeah, the new quote-unquote friend, which, they may have a different perspective is a Neolandian by the name of Tressal. Him. He has long, dark hair, like, down to, the top of his butt. He's 15, 16, so he's pretty young. And his dark hair has small stripes of gray that, to anybody particularly familiar with how dark magic works, might give them the idea that he is a dark mage, and probably a very experienced one at that. Whether or not those white stripes are actually real, or if maybe they are cosmetic, who knows? He is typically dressed in, very fine Neolandian garb. You might think that he's a noble, but he's actually an isolationist, that his his family has separated itself from kind of the larger rabble of Neolandia. But at this time, you can't see all that Neolandian gold and that finery, because he is just draped in heavy furs. He's shivering on this boat in winter, not understanding that it is the middle of the day and it is cold, and that is wrong and bad. So he's just shivering as he just takes small vials of things that he collected in the Evenearean border swamps, and he's documenting them in a small journal. Just, how is it still cold? And Cam, are we alone on this boat, or are we bringing anybody else across with us into Delbar?
Yeah, I'll give you. Well, you took several people, and they've already left you, right?
Gotcha.
So when this started out, you had maybe half a dozen people on this boat, which is already 5 more people than you're used to, Tressal. But thanks to your assistance and well, mostly Ponmalar's assistance, they found their way off at various points along the river. Many of them are going into Catolis, for example, which is over on the other side. But you have a desire to go to Delbar, and so that's where Ponmalar is taking you. This is kind of like it's a shallow bottom, sort of almost like a barge, right? It does have a sail, so you can pull it up, but it also has oars if you needed to. They're quite sturdy and large, but you would need to have several people using them. At this point, it's better to just pull out, like, use them as poles almost, right? You can connect them together that way. There's a shack on the back of it. There's no other way to get any kind of protection. There's a shack. In front of it is a large, sort of a shallow metal bowl, which has coals in it, which you can set a fire into. That has gone out several times in this trip, which, Ponmalar, big deal. You just relight it if you need to. However, the sign of these smoldering embers slowly going out continues to fill you with the same kind of dread you're speaking about, Tressal.
Yeah.
It's getting colder, and the further you go this way, the colder it's getting.
There's definitely that temptation for Tressal to think about using dark magic to, like, make it warmer, but also not wanting to waste these precious resources that he's come here to gather. There's only so much of it. So yeah, just shivering, and eventually I think will poke his head out of sort of that covered shelter and be like, Ponmalar, the fire again, please. Are we almost to a town, civilization, anywhere where there's not just wind and air and cold?
I mean, we're on a river, so it's pretty much going to be cold. But I can try and light the fire again. It's not necessarily gonna work, but I'll try.
And we're if I'm remembering the maps correctly, we're getting close to Delbar. You're not going to have any issues crossing over, right?
I shouldn't. I haven't before.
Good. Let's keep it that way.
Are you gonna make it? Are there gonna be issues for you crossing over?
No. Why would what have I done? I mean, you are a defector. I don't mean to offend.
Mm-hmm.
I have my own issues with my own people and with others in power, so I'm not judging you for it. I'm just saying that we should be prepared. I don't know how you usually do these things. Bringing people across borders and that, like.
So you're trying to pull the deserted card.
Look, who am I to talk? I'm not in Neolandia right now. I didn't follow Kasif into Xadia, so wasn't asked to. So there is a difference between the two of us, but I'm not judging.
Sure. Maybe I'll just leave you in the shack and I can leave the fire out for now. I at least brought a coat.
I'm sorry. Would you please light the fire again? I would very much appreciate it.
Sure, now that you have asked nicely.
All right, so your efforts to try to start a fire on this river, on this boat, especially in these kind of conditions, as you've been talking, the wind has been picking up a little more. Far ahead of you, maybe a few miles, you can see what you think is the large stone bridge that crosses over from Catolis into Durin, and there is a tower on the other side of that. There is no sign of any fire or any other smoke coming from it, so it could be deserted right now, you don't know, but it would be a good place to stay. However, that's some distance up the river, and you do have to try and get yourself up there. So, as you've been talking, like I said, the wind's picking up, and you can start feeling sleet coming down. Mally Tressal, like this ice, little tiny little pricks of it coming down and just landing on the boat. It's nothing to you, Ponmalar. You've dealt with this sort of thing before. You're a very seasoned outside traveler. But it almost, as soon as you said I brought a coat, the first of those things started to ping, ping, ping across the across the boat's deck.
Why is this sandstorm cold?
It's
why is everything cold?
So we'll have you do a test of your own, Ponmalar, to set this fire in a way that is pleasing perhaps to your Neolandian companion. If you don't succeed for some reason, which I don't think will happen, but what we're going to do also is that you will be creating an asset with this. The asset will be, you can give it to Tressal to help him deal with the conditions, if you'd like, and he can use it in his own roles later, or you can keep it for yourself and decide that this is helpful. It's my outdoor survival helpful kind of asset to keep in hand. But we'll get to that in a moment. First thing I'll do is I'll pull together my own difficulty pool. It isn't too hard to light a fire normally, but it is difficult when you have this kind of weather happening on it, and it's outside. There's no cover, there's no grate, you can't put a shield up over or anything else.
Sure.
So, but that'll be 2d6. It's still not terribly hard.
Okay.
And I will roll and tell you what I get, and we'll see how badly I screw this one up. Oh, guess what? It's a 9 again. So even though the difficulty dice were less than the last one, I got the same result. So you have to try and beat a 9 with your dice. So
okay.
Let's start with walking you through your sheet and seeing if we can do that.
Mm-hmm. So the attributes, can I use, is it just one attribute that I can use, or can I use multiple?
You pick one attribute, you'll pick one value that's appropriate, one of your distinctions, a specialty if it applies, and an asset if it applies.
Got it. So I'm thinking awareness, to be aware of the weather around me and when would be the best time to do each of the steps of lighting the fire.
Mm-hmm.
And then mastery, because it says I've spent years perfecting my skills. I'm just about survival these days, and so the idea of lighting a fire is probably pretty important to survival most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then distinction, maybe.
And if you click the dice, they should pop up in your dice tray too on your sheet.
Okay. There we go.
There we go.
So marsh ranger, maybe, to, because I know the area around me.
You've got the skills for outdoor survival, no problem.
I'm not really sure my specialties apply because it's archery, mathematics, and sneaking.
Yep. Nope. None of those will really work.
And then heavy bow probably also doesn't quite work with that.
Unless you're going to shoot the coals. No, it wouldn't work either. I think
Yeah,
you'll be
I
okay,
mean-
right?
Okay. Yeah, I hope so.
Tressal, are you going to try and help, or are you just sort of sitting back looking dour and grim about this whole thing?
Oh, I'm keeping my whole body under these furs that I found back here, which are even just a little bit damp and unpleasant, but like I am not exiting this little ball of warmth if I can avoid it. So I'm just shivering and looking on expectantly and with a little bit of judgment, even if I just continue to imply that I'm not judging.
Yeah. Sounds good. Looks like you can go ahead and roll then, Finway. Ooh, I love it. So, not only did you not succeed, and there's not actually any way you can spend plot points to make it work, you also did get a hitch. Now, the good news is I'll give you a plot point, which is wonderful. You can use that later on. But the bad news is that there is a little bit of stress that's come with that. So I need a D6 rating of stress, but it's enough to give you a bit of a hindrance later. And just like I did with the last group, I'm going to have Melly tell us what kind of stress do you think Ponmalar had with you sitting there judging them as they were walking through this whole process?
I think that Tressel's doing the whole like backseat fire starting thing. And just any time that he thinks that they are doing something slightly different than they've been doing before, or something that like he doesn't think is correct, he is saying it. And he's kind of like in the like shot of the show, like he's kind of popping up on one side and then like the fire goes out. And then he pops up on the other side and says something and the fire goes out. And I think that that would be angry.
Yeah, okay. So D6 of angry stress, which you can click on there and you can skip it up. Yep. Awesome.
And it like goes out the last time and I just like, I told you not to put that thing in there yet because the wind was.
However, you also didn't succeed at starting the fire either. And that in itself is enough to make you peeved. But given the fact that you're mad at Tressal, what's your describe the outcome for them? What's going to be the case for Eljaal? No, I'm not Eljaal, but Ponmalar.
Ponmalar is going to hand the fire starting tools kit, whatever, to Tressal, and then go to the other side of the boat and continue to watch the weather. And as they're traveling over. If you are going to continue backseat fire starting, you do it yourself.
Maybe I will.
Go right ahead. I'd love to see it.
All right. So, Melly, is Tressal going to try this?
Yes, Tressal has a point to prove now. That if Ponmalar had listened, this totally would have worked.
Okay. Yeah.
He is a teenager who thinks he's the hot stuff. He knows everything. So he's definitely going to try this now that somebody else has failed.
Well, I'm going to do this one thing for you. I'm going to leave it at 9 because I believe the same task has been put before you. I'm not going to make it easier or harder than that. I think it's only fair. So you have a 9 to try and beat as well. I could re-roll, but what would be the fun of that?
Yeah, no, it works for me. Okay, I think I would like to, as much as I want to use intellect, I do think this is more motivated by spirit. Like this is Tressal being like, I will do it. I'm very good at this. I can totally like fear the stubbornness that comes with spirit. So I'm gonna use that. This
I
is
did
going
forget one thing.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. Because you failed the test, Ponmalar, anyway, you'll need to step up some stress as a result of that too. Whenever you fail a test, you take stress. So what I'm going to have you do is actually step that angry up to D8, because not only did you fail it and got mad about that, you got mad about Tressal doing what they were doing. So it's a D8 now. So it's not great, but that's what happened. Sorry. Please continue.
No worries. Spirit, I'm going to use mastery. My statement here is I'm better at what I do than most people and like to make a show of it. So like deciding, okay, fine, I will do it. throws off that fur blanket, and just like the hair goes out and you can see all these vials and everything that he's carrying, and he's gonna make a big thing out of starting this fire, or at least attempting to. This is gonna be I'm going to hinder my Neolandian isolation.
Hindering.
Yeah, so hindering is saying that I think this might cause a problem as opposed to necessarily helping me to succeed. I'm going to switch out the D8 for a D4, but I get a plot point for it. Yep. And I'm actually going to change it to Brooding Wander, because I do think that this is like, I'm making an enemy of the person who's here to protect me and guide me through this place, which is a terrible idea. So this is going to be a D4, Brooding Wanderer. And then, should I use dark magic? That's the question. And I think because he's trying to prove something here, he's like, okay, screw this idea of having limited resources. And he will take out a small vial that he collected in Evenearean of these, they're slightly magically infused fireflies. They're not fully magical, but there's enough in them for something like lighting a fire. And I'm going to go ahead and spend a plot point to create that as a D6 asset, a magical creature asset, because that is how dark magic works. So I get a D6 asset for that. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my dark magic specialty. And tell me if I can use my dancing flame spell. It's going to like kind of have a flame that will bounce, through kind of the lantern that's on the ship and light this fire, and also maybe like the lantern at the front of the ship as well, like lighting all of the fires, not just one. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, and also that's going to be pretty obvious to anyone who sees this, that you haven't decided to go the normal route and you've gone a little bit left.
This is full dark. It's a show. Get your tickets now. And I'm going to go ahead and roll these dice and hope that I don't really mess up, because that can give me corruption stress since I'm using dark magic. So let's see how we do. Ooh. All right. I'm not going to spend any plot points on this because I need those for magical creatures. So I got a 12.
Definitely beats the 9. Let's see. Do you take anything from even using the dark magic? It's only if you fail, correct?
If I fail or get hitches.
Yeah.
Or if I activate, I have an SFX that can give me some bonuses, but it will turn the magical creature asset I use into stress.
Yeah, which you don't.
I played it safe this time.
You did. But you did have to consume a magical ingredient by pulling it out, and it costs a plot point, so there's always a cost involved in one way or another with dark magic. So, yes, success, not a heroic success, but you did what you needed to do. You started this fire. Does the fire look normal is my first question. And then tell me more about how this actually plays out.
Yeah, totally. So starting this, kind of pushing this out, taking that small vial, emptying it with this flourish, crushing it. And from it, all of the little bits of firefly, just these different beams of this purplish light, then just kind of like encircle our ship for a moment. I kind of turn, and like in the light being cast from it, there's like that smirk, dramatic lighting towards Ponmalar. One of the flames will like even just kind of circle Ponmalar's head for a moment before one fills the front lantern of our boat, one in the inside lantern for my work, and then the rest of it just all kind of dives into that pot, lighting that all up. And it is definitely like, it looks kind of like real fire, but if you look too long, you can definitely see that like at the hottest point, instead of being a bit blue and yellow, that it's purple and a little bit of tinges of green, like showing that it is definitely dark magic that created this.
I love it. Yes, and Ponmalar, this is not a normal flame. This is not a normal way of doing things. But, I guess if there's one thing that makes dark magic useful, it's that it does provide a way through some situations where you maybe couldn't achieve it yourself normally. Also, it doesn't seem to be affected by the sleet that's coming out. It kind of spits and hisses as it hits the bowl of coals, but the flame doesn't seem to go out. However, it is an eerie looking sight as the weather turns and the air becomes colder, as I said before, but also the light around you on the river is not as bright as it was earlier in the day. And now as you approach the bridge area, you're getting the sense that you must really paint an interesting picture of this sort of purplish glows in the lanterns, and this weird kind of like it's orange and yellow, but got purple coming through that, like just little sparks, and the whole thing all together. So what must that look like? And we'll find out in a second. We'll take a quick flash over to the tower. Inside, we see as the viewers, there's a tower. It's squat. It has maybe 3 or 4 levels with little crenellations at the top and a pointed conical roof. But below that is a balcony, and it is a watchtower over the bridge. As I said earlier, there is no fire lit here. It doesn't look as if it's been used by anybody, but there are people standing and looking out over this. One of them is a tall woman, and she has blonde hair. It's braided thickly. She's got furs. She herself looks like she's been through a lot. And next to her, a couple of other guards, perhaps, or men. And she looks over. She sees approaching on the bridge 2 figures crossing over now into Delbar, and then down on the river. This sight, this vision of a barge or some kind of vessel with lights in it. She nods at the 2 of them, and they move themselves down stairs, and she continues to observe them. Pass over now to Eljaal and Bineta. As I said, you're coming over this bridge. Finally, you're out of that woods and everything else, but the side before you is quite intimidating. As I said, it's like this bridge is quite large and stone, but there's a very clear, obvious path upwards. And before you can go past it, you'll have to pass beneath this stone tower.
And do we see anyone up there?
Well, that's a good question. I don't normally like to make rolls for perception. I think it's easy enough to just tell you if you do or not. You've got very keen eyes. You're an elf. You can see things better than most of the humans around here probably could. And the 2 of you together, yeah. So yes, you did see an individual up there. Now, for some reason, they haven't lit any fires. They're not keeping stock of anything here in terms of living there or residing there. So there must be something else happening. And then it's when you catch the sight just beyond the tower. Like it's large. It doesn't cross over the actual bridge. The bridge goes beside it. Like you can see at the other end of the bridge, you'll pass beside the tower. But there's a kind of an area of covered buildings, for example, like stables or other kinds of outbuildings. And there you see what looks like a collection of wagons for a caravan.
Oh, there, we're going there. I am not walking anymore. My horse is tired.
You want to get a new wagon, you're saying?
Well, yeah. I don't want to carry my stuff.
Okay. I saw someone up in that tower.
I saw a shadow. You think that was someone?
Yes.
Are we worried?
Well, I think we should just proceed with caution. I mean, this is the only way to cross the river near here. So we don't have much of a choice. Let's just be on guard.
Okay. I'll pull out my sword. I'll be ready.
Now, Bineta, your sword is a very special one.
Cool. Yes.
It is a sun-forged blade, which means that when you draw it out of its sheath, it is glowing red hot.
Oh,
white hot.
I'm gonna say actually, maybe you should just sheath it for now. We actually don't want to draw too much attention to ourselves.
The light is quite dim here, and obviously, if anyone's up in the tower, they could possibly have seen you as you come over. I mean, you've been very good, Eljaal. I'm not trying to make any sort of look stand out. However, Bineta, are you on the horse now, or are you still walking beside it?
I think I'm walking beside the horse.
Okay.
Horse has had a long day.
Even so, you get a briefest glimpse of as she tries to draw the blade out. There's no hiding it.
You what? You don't want? No.
Yeah. Maybe just sheath it for now. Just have it at the ready.
Are you really? You said be on guard.
Just be ready, just in case something happens.
Okay. I can work with that.
Eljaal mutters, God, that thing is like a beacon. It's so bright. Who needs a shiny sword?
Odd staff collapses on itself, which is quite cool. Like it just folds up into a big thing. But that's elegant, right? That's not like ostentatious.
I mean, I'm not gonna be a show off and like make my sword glow.
You're not showing off during combat. What are you even doing?
We're so opposite. I love it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, Bineta is so extra. At the other end of the bridge, as you cross and keep going, you're being very aware. The figure at the top has now stepped away from the balcony, Eljaal, and you can see that they've gone inside. And you get a clearer view of this caravan. There seem to be a number of people here who've pulled it up here to sort of set it aside, maybe as it's on its way to or from somewhere, and they're using it as a rest stop. There's troughs and things for horses to feed out of. It looks as if it's like a way station, and probably it was designed for this purpose, to be somewhere where people can, keep things. But also, it's obvious too that the military uses in the past are quite evident. There's clear sign that there's places where you could set up, for example, a ballista or a catapult or something along those lines. None of that siege weapons or anything else is here. It's all gone. It's been taken. You believe it was probably hauled along with the armies of Delbar when they came and joined Viren's cause. So for right now, you don't think these are probably military. You think it's some other kind of caravan, but you can't tell until you interact with them.
And are they on the same side of the river as us, or on the other side?
They're on the side that as you're coming over, you're approaching. They're on the Delbar side.
Oh, okay.
That's where the Delbar. That's where the tower is. You've left.
Oh, the tower's on the other side. Okay, I was imagining it was like on the bridge. Got it.
Oh no! Sorry, yes, it's
which
like
doesn't make sense.
Like this. There's a big tower on the other side. So obviously it was designed. Okay, we'll put a bridge here, but we're going to watch who comes over. Right.
Right. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I think Eljaal will actually say this out loud. Very strategic positioning of this watchtower. We literally can't sneak our way over into Delbar.
See,
we're kind of just out in the open.
That's the smartest thing you've ever said. That makes sense to me.
Okay. Should we try to find a different way?
Oh no, we should still keep walking. I was gonna go shout at those people over there to see if they knew what was up.
And maybe
people are the best way to learn information.
And maybe see if there's a wagon for sale?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You're funding the wagon, right? Because that was your wagon, I think. Was that mine?
Yeah, whose wagon was it? And do we have money?
We have no currency.
We have no money and no wagon.
You're walking alongside, like the edge of the bridge has like not a railing, but it's a raised area, like a wall. Mm-hmm. You can see the wide river here at this point. It's narrowed over time. I mean, here at this point, it's not too broad, but it is wide enough that you couldn't really swim across, and this temperature would be bad. But there is a boat approaching, and if you look over, you see that there's a jetty, like a little wharf area that has a stair leading up to the tower as well. So anyone could come on the river and go to the tower by docking, for example. And that boat, something weird about it too. Again, you don't need to roll for determining this, but clearly, oh my gosh, I love that background. Clearly there's some people on it, and they're approaching that tower as well.
Maybe if we see if we can join with this group here, this boat will be a little less exposed.
Yeah, want me to shout at them?
Sure. Go for it.
Oi! You on the boat!
Ponmalar, that is definitely aimed at you. So now we've combined the two groups together in some way. I mean, obviously you don't have to be together to be together, but yes, clearly there is someone yelling at you from the bridge over there as you're approaching this wharf.
Yes.
Could we hitch a ride on your boat? We'll trade you this horse.
Or something.
Well, the horse can go live a different life now. It's really sad all it can say to me.
I don't have a need for a horse.
I'm a really good fighter. I could defend you.
You've got pretty good vision too. Are you keen-eyed at all, Ponmalar? Is that one of the things that was said about you? I don't know if it was or not.
I don't.
I think you got awareness 10 or something, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I
wow.
have awareness. I have awareness 10.
Yeah. That's a Sunfire elf. Like that's an elf.
Yes.
Just yelling at you across the river. I mean, so the river, like, imagine this. You're on this boat. You're about maybe 20, 30 feet away from docking. There's a huge tower there. Well, it's not huge, but it's bigger than anyone else here. It's up there, looming over you. And next to it is this bridge, and it goes all the way across the river. It's quite large. And there's one person yelling at you. There's no other noises except the sound of the water in the river, which even that has a bit of a sort of a mulled, kind of slightly frosted over kind of feeling. And so there's no hiding the fact that this elf is on the bridge just yelling, "Hey, we'll trade you this horse. I'm a good fighter. I'm, you know."
Eljaal, should I show them my sword?
No, just
no?
get down here. Just get down here.
Okay, we could jump off the bridge if
No.
you come under.
No.
I'm gonna
Whatever.
start guiding. I'm gonna start guiding the horse, or trying to. I don't know if this horse likes me. Down to the riverbank, I guess, where we could
All
maybe
right,
meet
so-
up with the boat.
The way that will work is the tower, like I said, it's the very end of the bridge, but it's to
Right.
one side. And to go around it, you'll have to go down the sort of slight steps that come off the bridge. You can choose to go around these steps down the bottom towards that wharf, or you can continue to the other end where the actual land is, right? So you have those two choices. But that's where the caravans and the outbuildings and things were. Essentially, you can get down there, no problem. It would be leading a horse down some steps. But she's a pretty good horse. But there's no hiding the fact that you're doing that, because it'll be clip clop, and,
Oh, yeah.
and whatever.
No more sneaking, I'm guessing.
I mean, the shouting might have ruined that.
Yeah. All right. Should we go past the caravan or around the tower? I feel like you wanted to see if there were wagons, so maybe we pass the caravan?
Go all the way through and then down.
If you
Yeah.
wanted to get down to the wharf, you'll have to go around the tower's steps.
Oh, we do
down to-
still have to go around the tower?
Okay.
Okay. Well, then that's where we'll have
That's
to go.
our plan.
Yeah.
While they make their way down, I'm like turning to Ponmalar. I'm like, why did you turn down the horse? You never turn down a trade like that. Haven't you ever heard of the girl that traded a peanut for a palace? Like,
What am I supposed to do with a horse?
I mean, we have room for a horse. What are we going to do when we
I'm gonna put it
dock
on your
the
desk.
ship? We'll dock the ship, and then what are we going to do? Walk? We're going to walk?
Yes. That is how you typically go from place to place.
No, you usually ride an elephant, but a horse is kind of like a really small elephant. So we could take a horse.
Since when do you ride an elephant? You're too small for an elephant.
It's not about the size of the rider, it's the size of the Eveneareans. Fine, I'm just saying if they offer
I'm
you the
gonna
horse
kick you
again,
off this.
take
I'm
it.
gonna kick you off this boat.
You
I lit the fire, so I'm just
you pull up at the dock. The elves are coming down the stairs, and there is a doorway halfway down the steps that is obviously leads into the tower. So there's a landing, right? The landing goes up some steps to the bridge, and then down some more to the dock. And the door right there seems to be the way into the tower itself. As you clip past it, it opens a fraction, and some eyes look out and meet you right in the actually Bineta, it's you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like eye to eye, maybe about this far away.
Oh,
And then suddenly just slam the door very quickly.
well, that was rude.
Hmm.
She's gonna go up and knock on that door, like aggressive knocks.
Eljaal, what are you doing? Are you going to continue down with the horse or wait for them to come up?
Like pushing the horse by its butt. Come on, down the stairs.
Yeah, I think I'm probably still trying to just get this horse down the stairs towards this boat.
All right.
Yeah, I think I would have noticed the door situation, but I know Bineta just has to kind of follow that, so I'm like, okay,
mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
she'll deal with that.
Yes. Knock,
Oh.
knock, knock.
The door stays closed, and you hear behind it like some very muffled conversations in an accent you haven't recognized before, until finally the door opens again slightly, and there's that same pair of eyes with a very thick bearded face behind it, belonging to them. What do you want?
Well, we made really, really good eye contact, and I just kind of wanted to figure out, who are you? Also, do you have any wagons for sale?
No, they're all spoken for. Sorry.
All of them?
Yes. Whole
Okay.
caravan.
And she's gonna put her foot in like that little crack of the door that people do. One more question. What kind of stuff you've seen up in that tower? Any news you could potentially share?
Not in the market for news.
I doubt that. Look at you. You don't spend time shaving. You could pay attention to news.
His whole face seems to be hair. And this is the thing, there's not a lot of this going on in the elven society. There's obviously lovely crafted beards and there's lots of hair and everything else. Not this. This is like, he's just like a mountain man.
And just two little eyes.
Yeah, little eyes in there and like some just maybe teeth when he talks. It's just human. It's so human. Also, this smell coming from him. It's like, it's maybe horses, but also other stuff. Maybe he's drunk. You don't know. It's quite strong. And he seems to be, just like he's so many senses all rolled up into one.
You gotta know some news. You have to. Tell me what's going on around here. We're new to Delbar.
So I'm gonna make you roll a test to try and convince this poor caravan guard to let you inside.
All right.
His ancestral problem with elves in general, right? But he is not even sure what you are, right? He doesn't know. He's not seen a Sunfire elf before, but also he's of the usual dour sort of quasi-xenophobic human kind of person. But again, you're also very convincing, and so I'll put this at a 2d8 is the difficulty. I'll put that in here. I'll roll that now. This is going to be you trying to get inside, and is that what you're trying to do? Get inside and sort of like join them for a bit?
Pretty much. See if there's any food, feed the horse, get some snacks, bring in our new boat friends to convince them that we really do want to use the boat.
Oh yeah. If you succeed at this test, you'll be able to gain entry into the tower, and you can sort of have this conversation with them and so on. Probably including Eljaal and the others. If you fail,
we have to.
It doesn't mean that you won't be allowed in, but there may be a lot of suspicion going with it, and you'll take some stress and so forth, right?
Okay.
Because I don't think it's not fun to just say, "Oh well, I guess no adventure." So we'll do that. Rolling my dice, a 7.
A 7. Okay. How do we feel about spirit being my attribute? Because I'm being a little hard-headed.
Mm-hmm.
Oof. How do we feel about glory? If my name doesn't go down in the history books, so be it. But how do I want to try and twist that to maybe that doesn't quite work. I'm having a hard time applying a value.
Mm-hmm. Well, why are you doing this? Whenever we think about values, what's motivating you to do this? What's your motivating reason to try and get in here? Because other than just random chaos, which I'm sure is not what you're doing.
Well, I mean, I'm an emissary, so I'm trying to bring something to somebody, and I think I know that the best way to do that is by making as many allies along the way. Because when a fight does have to come down, the best thing to have is more people at your back.
Yeah.
So liberty, maybe?
Liberty could be one. That's trying to, the freedom of this, maybe trying to encourage that.
That value statement really fits what you just described too, I feel like.
Yeah. I'm a servant of people, not a maverick. All right.
Yeah. Sometimes you'll be using values that don't really have a high die rating, which is fine. That's the whole point of you'll just find situations where you can use the good ones and not. Who knows?
I guess.
By the way, I am completely and totally in awe at this whole Bineta persona you've got here. It's amazing, B.
Thank you. I have a type, and I really lean hard into them. Not really angry. So if there are no distinctions to add, then there's just...
Well, so often what happens is with a distinction, you can either pick one that seems like it kind of fits the sort of general idea of what you're trying to do, which
Okay.
in this case is like a Knight of Luxoria is a position of some status, right? You're trying to use that, you're an emissary right now. That works just fine. Or you could decide, oh, is one of these things getting in my way, in fact? And if that's the case, is being a Knight of Luxoria actually kind of hindering me in my efforts to try and get inside here because I'm too haughty and too whatever? If that's the case, you can use the D4 version of the directing instead of the D8. You also get a plot point, which is fun.
Oh, I want a plot point. Okay, I want the plot point. So that's just coming out of my Sunfire elf? Or as a knight? Can we read that again?
The knight. I think we're going with knight.
Okay.
Unless you want to use Sunfire elf as being the reason that it's going to be hard. It's getting anywhere because you're an elf. And this is
That's the vibe that I was getting. Because like you kind of mentioned, like, there's always a little bit of xenophobia towards elves. And like, I don't know if Bineta's experienced a whole lot of that, but like she is aware that this is something she's going to have to deal with.
Yeah. And one of the things about Cortex is that when you have these distinctions, you're choosing when it disadvantages you as opposed to me or saying anyone else, right? You're saying, I want this to be a problem for me right now. So you choose to have that happen. So in this case, yeah, being an elf is a problem for you. So it's D4, not a D8.
Perfect. I'm going to give that a roll.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wonderful.
Well, a hitch. And wouldn't really say I passed.
No.
The rolls today.
Oof.
No. So
not kind.
This is going to go very interestingly. So first of all, this is not a good impression you're making upon this poor individual. Maybe you're a bit too elfy. Maybe you're a bit too sunfiery. Two things are going to happen here. One is you'll take some stress from the fact that you failed the roll, right?
Okay.
I'm going to say it's probably... I don't think it's anger. I don't think you'd be mad at the fact that you didn't get in here necessarily, but you probably will be insecure about this fact that maybe you're not, feeling this emissary job you've got right now isn't perhaps working for you, right? In fact, this is the first human you've spoken to since you crossed the border. Because Eljaal's been doing a great job keeping you away from them. So, and because it's 2 hitches, you get a plot point, but I give you a D8 stress under insecure. So that's insecure stress.
Perfect.
And because you failed, you also take stress for that. And I think that's going to make it, I think you are going to be mad about that. I think that there's a thing is, the conversation was making you insecure because it wasn't right. But then he says, no, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to have to ask someone else. And he's kind of stalling.
What do you mean you don't know? You can't just not know. You live up in this tower.
So that'll be a D6 of angry stress.
Oh, heck.
Now, I did say before that this failing this roll wouldn't mean that you can't get in. But what does happen is the door closes once more and you're left there waiting for them to go in here and figure out, are they going to bring you in? Are they going to? They're going to, but we'll move down to the other 3 for the most time for this scene and see if what has transpired while you've been doing that. So down to the dock. Eljaal, you've got this horse. He is now on the dock. There is no other way off the dock except a boat and the steps again. You could lead him along the riverside, but the river is very the river is carved into rock. It isn't like a sandy beach or anything. It's just like a rocky thing. No good place for horses. Okay. He looks so pissed. You're not his favorite elf, for one thing. This is not his favorite place to be. Right? Ponmalar, you can get that sense right away from this animal that it is not happy. And these two do not belong together. So what do you do? How is this introduction? How is the meeting going to take place?
I wouldn't necessarily say there's going to be a meeting of sorts. Ponmalar is just going to walk up to the horse and ignore Eljaal, and then start talking to the horse and trying to calm it down and trying to bring it onto the boat.
Hello, hi.
Hi.
So, are we can get on your boat? Is that what's happening?
Yep. Tressal, we have friends. Come say hi.
I was kind of like hiding because as Eljaal actually approached and I saw like, oh, that's an elf. This is not what I wanted. I'll kind of, I'm going to cover myself in that big blanket again, even though I'm perfectly warm because of my wonderful dark magic fire. But just to like cover all of the things I have on me and just cover up and like pop out. Hey.
Hello. Okay, great, thank you. I didn't know if you were just taking this horse.
I mean, we are going to take the horse, though, right? Your friend offered the horse in trade.
I'm not sure it's fully hers to offer to you, but we can discuss a trade of some kind. If you don't mind, before we leave, my friend just seems to be caught up with someone at the watchtower. We'll just need to collect her and then be on our way.
Sure.
If that's okay.
You do know that the only way now to get to Delbar, other than going up the river some more, and there's no other place to get off. This is like it.
Oh.
But I mean, you can keep going up the river, but it won't take you into Delbar. You'll be heading towards Durin.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so are you saying that all of us are getting off here, or that like we are all on this going to Delbar? Just to clear up the.
Oh no, this is the place you'll get off to go into Delbar.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so we're like getting off. So the horse is coming on, but we're like, no, let's keep the horse off. So it's just this like, wait, where are we going? Yeah, we're trading the boat for the horse, right?
No,
are
we are not trading the
boat? We're
boat.
going to Delbar.
We are
so
not.
We need to get off here.
No, we can get off here.
Where are you going? What are you going to do with the boat? Are you hiring a boat sitter?
Eljaal, these two humans don't seem to like each other, which is one thing you immediately get a sense of when you see them acting. The horse, by the way, horse isn't like you either. Horse is not all that happy with this other person. Ponmalar, just a quick check. Are you trying to calm this horse down and get it to sort of be a friend with you, or are you just like acknowledging it and not making a big deal?
They are definitely trying to make friends with this horse.
All right, well, I will have you roll that. So I want to see whether this horse chooses to have a new friend or if it's going to be a thing that you have to deal with later on.
That's fine.
All right, and that's not hard. I mean, actually, no, this is a very unruly horse. This horse doesn't like people. So that's 2d8. We'll roll that.
Okay.
8.
Okay, not terrible. For my attribute, I think spirit, that I'm not like completely trying to tell this horse what to do. I'm just trying to be friends with it. Devotion to making it my friend.
Yeah.
And then I guess March Ranger again, because that's and then none of the specialties.
Right. Once again, not trying to shoot the horse with an arrow.
No. Well, not at the point. Not at this point.
Right. Ooh. So here's the thing about in Cortex, you have to get more than the difficulty on your total in order to succeed. Right? We often we use that phrase. You have to beat it to eat it. So in this case, an 8 is not going to beat the 8 for this, and you've taken a hitch too. I'm going to have you step your angry up to D10 as a result of that.
Dice are so unkind.
You're going to get another plot point though. Plot point, narrative 3. Really cool. Had that not been an actual hitch and it was just an extra dice, you could then have taken that and moved it in with a plot point to increase your total by keeping more dice, but you had none left. So there wasn't much you could do with that. And so you also failed. So yeah, you are really, really mad. Actually, no, I think I'm gonna be fair to you. I'll put D6 exhausted stress on you for failing that.
Okay.
I don't want to make it so horrible that you just lose it right now in the first couple of scenes. But no, this whole situation is becoming super heated and you're getting worn out. And by the way, that horse does not care about you. Doesn't like you, doesn't like the elf, doesn't like Tressal, doesn't like this whole
I just
place.
have bad vibes. Like, I don't even need to try. It just doesn't like me.
This horse is like stamping a bit here. Bineta, you love this horse. The horse loves you. You're not anywhere near the horse.
This horse and I have a good bond. I feed it like grass and carrots. I don't actually know what horses eat. Sugar cubes? Whatever they want.
All of those
All
same
of these
legit.
things. Yeah, exactly. All of those. Right.
So, yeah, this is
So yeah, we have this scene where we're
obvious
like trying to push the horse off, trying to get the horse on, talking about what we're doing with the boat.
Okay.
It's delightful.
Let me just get my friend because she's really good with the horse, and also we should figure out what we're doing. I just go back up to the tower door.
Don't close that door on me. Who do you think you are? You're addressing a sun elf. Ugh. Oh, hey, Eljaal.
Hey, what's going on here?
Well, I wanted access to that house and the door was closed, so I kicked it, stuck my foot in the door, argued a bit, and I'm not feeling too great. I feel like I was insulted.
And you're
Is that what
surprised
it's
that
like?
didn't work. I'm like
Oh.
popping up behind Eljaal.
Hi.
Ponmalar is now
Tressal
also
has
up
this-
there.
I believe Tressal has the cinematic quality of just doing the whole heads poking
Yeah.
up. And
Mhm.
Just over people's shoulders, like suddenly there's Tressal.
Oh, hi. Well, I really thought that I would gain access to the tower and acquire all of their secrets and information and thus pass it on to the people who needed to know that. Is that an unreasonable expectation?
In this land, when you're an elf, yes.
Honestly, anybody, if you kicked in their door, put a foot in it, yelled at them, probably
Yeah.
wouldn't result
Oh.
in what you wanted.
Yeah.
So,
Here, I'm gonna hold up a hand and I'm gonna just go and knock on the door.
okay.
that's not a very loud knock.
It opens. Same face. We're still oh,
Hello, I'm traveling in from the south. Just hoping maybe we could stop inside, warm up a little bit. Maybe trade some news from the south.
It's a
exchange for news
Neolandian.
ahead.
I'll ask. Did you bring any food?
We have a
Ponmalar, how
horse?
are...
What? No,
Oh,
we don't
wow.
eat the horse.
Okay, so
Yeah.
not the horse. Ponmalar, how are our food stores doing? share?
We have some left. I mean, we had enough to get.
I mean, you can
Get
hunt,
past-
right? You can get more.
Sure. I mean,
Okay.
I don't
Yes,
currently
we do.
have.
All right, just a minute. Pauses again. There's more conversation going on in there. Okay, you want to try and hear it? What you make out is male voices, and then a female voice, and then another voice just louder than both of them. You don't know, and then they're just yelling, and then there's like footsteps coming towards the door. All right, go get the food, and what is the horse doing down there?
The horse is going on the boat.
I thought we were trading the horse for. I've always wanted a boat.
Not taking my coat.
Oh, I mean, if we're doing the trade, then that's fine.
Tressal.
We are still figuring out what's happening with the horse and the boat, but we are working on that. May we come in? It is
Yes,
very
yes.
cold
Oh,
out here.
yes. I've been given permission to let you in. He backs off and opens the door inside.
Yeah, and I'll hold
Inside?
it so that both of the elves can get in too.
Yeah.
And I'll just look really prideful.
Thank you. I have some food. I have some pepper jerky, like dehydrated peppers. I've got some more spicy peppers. Some more spicy. These ones are green though. I've got some red spicy
Good.
peppers. Yeah, I've got
Warm
lots
them
of
up from
food.
but inside. It's cold.
Oh yes. Okay.
Yeah, Tressal, shouldn't she be going to get our food? You did say you were going to do that, didn't you?
I thought you were the one carrying things.
It's on the boat.
Then you should go to the boat and get it, right?
You told them that you were going to get it. Shouldn't you keep your promise?
I mean, I was a promise on both of our paths. I promised
said
that
no.
you would go and do that. But fine. I guess I had to light the fires. I have to open the door, and I have to go and get the food, I guess.
Oh, do you want me to tell them how you lit the fire?
No. I will get the food.
Good.
Don't tell them about anything. Why we're here, anything while I'm gone. And I will go back to the boat.
Excellent. So the other three of you are invited in. You can see what's down inside this tower. So each of the tower floors, you can tell, is probably just a single room, right, with steps that circle out into the next level. The downstairs here has a obvious exit that goes out to what would probably be those buildings that are outside of the tower itself. They're quite large. The air down here smells just rank with animals and other things. There are some pigs and other kinds of animals sort of moving around in a pen in here. There's stacks of really soggy and bad-looking hay and other sort of things. Everything here seems as if it's gone off. Like there's a few barrels with cracks on them, something seeping out of it. It looks as if whatever was in here, there were probably many, many stores, right? They've all been taken, and those that weren't any good were left behind. So they clearly haven't got much to work with. The pigs look starved. They're not very healthy looking animals, and but they've probably been given whatever slops these people have left over. There are 4 people in here. Just double check my notes because I do have some notes. Yes, 4. And as I said before, there are 3 men who have beards and look very much like each other. The only way you can tell them apart, more or less, is by whatever kind of colored cloaks and things they have wear. It's very much a dwarf situation, but not really. They're all humans. They're all from Delbar. There's a woman who is in here too. She has short dark hair, and she seems to be doing most of the actual work of moving things across and heavy labor and pushing it into the pig slop and things. Other 3 just sitting around having conversations. She yells at them from time to time, and as you move in here, and they all stop during their conversations and having their whole argument, and just watch you. She gives you a furtive glance and then just dumps everything in and says, "I'll go get Hild." And she starts walking up the steps. The other 3 kind of like point at like crates and things and saying, please sit.
Yeah, this place is it's very Eljaal, what's a nice thing to say about human places?
It's fragrant.
It is very fragrant. Very fragrant. Yes.
The only light in here, Eljaal, is 1 lantern over by the doorway that goes out to the buildings, and the door's half open, so you can hear the sound of like horses and things out there. So you're probably looking into the stables if you were to walk right out from there. In the coldest of weather, they would bring everybody in, all the animals in here, but for time being, they're keeping them stable outside. There's a lantern by that door. There's also kind of a similar to the thing that's on the barge, like a brazier or something, which is just very clearly not doing its hardest work either. But other than that, I mean, and it's got smoke coming out of it. There's the smell of these animals. There's the bad storage. This whole place, fragrant is a very polite way of describing it.
Ooh, Bineta will like awkwardly sit on a crate and hope it doesn't collapse beneath her weight. Like, wow.
Nice crates too.
Oh, they're very slaps crates. Dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is this?
It's not a horse.
Whoa. I mean, I know what a crate is. It's just, you gotta like test out its endurance.
Man, we haven't got anything to share. We do have beer.
Oh.
That's the smell you probably smelled earlier. They've been drinking a lot of, and you think it's spoiled. Like, I mean, you're not you're not terribly acquainted with human alcohol.
Yeah.
It's not a thing. Elves have their own various kinds of beverage, but no, there's a whole bunch of very sour beer that they've been drinking, and it looks like they're having a rough time. Ponmalar, this is not uncommon. In the last few weeks, you've seen places like this. Obviously, we're traveling around where whoever's been left behind after the armies moved out are picking over scraps. So these people, they're not soldiers. You can tell that they're probably caravan guards or workers, and whatever their caravan is carrying is most likely stores or supplies going into Delbar or out. You don't know, obviously, which direction. Tressal, you get down to the boat. The horse is still down there. It does not like you.
Yeah, I have to try to like skirt around the horse to get back to the boat. So I think there's a little bit of a stare down that happens. Mm-hmm. And I think in the end of that, it's just like stare, stare, stare. If you don't let me pass, I will find some kind of spell I can use you in.
So when you're down here, you hear something. You and the horse doing this. And the horse's ears prick up. And then it breaks eye contact, and you're like, oh, I've won. Obviously, this is great. I've won the stare off. But it looks up, and it's looking up, maybe towards where the bridges, the stairs or something. You hear something over the wind, because as I said, it's still nasty weather out here. It sounds like howling or very faint animal noises, howls, dogs, perhaps. And it's coming over the air, the wind, and the horse hears it first. You're not the most. What's your awareness?
I've had D8.
Yeah, so you're
above average.
You're pretty good. I mean, obviously you hear it after the horse does. In fact, looking out to see what's going on, you think sounds like something is approaching because they seem to be getting nearer.
Can I get any sense of, if I can identify what these sounds are, especially, with my recent wilderness expeditions?
That's true. Okay, we'll let you make a roll for that. It is difficult. Here's what I'll do. I'll clear this out. I'll put 2d8 in here. If you succeed at this, I will give you more information about this thing. If you fail, you won't have any more of it to know, but you'll probably take some stress from trying to determine.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
The fear of the unknown,
Oh.
Okay, the dice only favor me. I'm so sorry, everybody else.
That's what it is. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So 0 is what I got.
I could still get a 0 too.
Now, do you don't have any? You have no stress, Tressal, to even worry about. Don't even bother spending a plot point to activate those. I just have a 0, flat 0.
Oh,
but you're going to have to roll to see if you get a heroic success.
I do. And also I have to see, because I could also get a 0, and you have to meet it to beat it. So I could actually still manage somehow to fail.
It would be the first time ever in any Cortex.
I know. Okay. This is definitely intellect. This is me trying to recall the things that I have been, hearing and seeing in my travels with Ponmalar and before Ponmalar. I think this is liberty. I'm getting a feel for the value of my independence. I'm out here doing this myself, and maybe usually I would be like, Ponmalar, what is that? What is that? What's that sound? Which one's this? Is that a different one? Is that a different animal? This time I'm like, no, I got this. I lit the fire. I got them in there. I'm the master of my own fate.
Oh, so is it mastery then?
I mean, they're both the same rating.
The way that you described it sounds a bit like you're trying to get an edge up.
Yeah, that is true. I think it's more liberty because it's like I alone can do this. I'm not relying on somebody else to help me. So it's that feel for my independence. Like, is this something where I can stretch my wings a bit?
Yeah.
I think this is a moment where I'm doing that, not relying on somebody else. I think that this is going to be, if you have a botch, I'm going to hinder again for a plot point. It's Brooding Wanderer, again, it is making this about myself and not involving people who would be more well-suited to this.
Yeah,
so I will take
telling them there's something coming, for example.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, what is that? Standing there with this horse in the cold. This is totally fine. Nothing else gets added in. I'm not going to use any specialties or assets. So let's give that a roll. I just can't get a 0 and then I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I did it. I did get a hitch
Yeah.
though, but it is a heroic success, so I do get at least like a D6 effect die. So
And that's good for
that
the
feels
chat.
appropriate.
The chat is very happy. You could have got a 3 or something, and then the chat wouldn't have got anything. And no
Yeah,
one
I
would.
know.
I am going to buy that hitch off you though, and give you D6 of afraid stress.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
as you start
definitely.
putting 2 and 2 together, you realize that doesn't sound like dogs. It sounds like wolves. It sounds like something even maybe growlier than wolves, maybe bears, and lots of them. Something loud and scary, and several of them are heading this way, and they're huffing and howling and making noises, and in a way that doesn't sound normal. There's something about it that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I say peanuts, and I grab the horse's reins because, like, right now I'm thinking this is my horse now, so I'm gonna pull it and try to get to the door while pulling it to knock on it. If I can't pull it, if it doesn't go with me, I will just start yelling, "Ponmalar! Beasts! Bears! Wolves! Danger! Help!"
What? What?
Okay.
What now?
You
shouting.
managed to pull the horse up the stairs. I mean, what is your
My
strength?
strength is a 6.
Yeah, it's
I
not
think I
enough.
got one finger left on the rein, and I'm stretching to like knock on the door.
Yep. It's sort of like it's got, and also it's not very happy with the sound either. It's like getting very skittish, and it feels like approaching that noise, which is to go up the stairs a bit and towards the bridge and towards the land, is a bad idea. So it's like no. But you do manage to get up there and whack a couple times and yell. All of you inside can hear this from outside over the wind. Ponmalar, sounds like Tressel's in trouble, and he's yelling and making noises. This
That
woman,
your
this
loud
person
friend?
still hasn't come down yet.
That is my loud friend.
Oh, probably an issue with the horse.
Did he say beasts? I heard him say beasts.
Like,
I heard beasts and bears and wolves and rats.
oh,
I'm gonna
And
go to the
peanuts?
door. I'm gonna head over to the door and open it.
All right, there is a somewhat shaken, not terribly scared, but somewhat disturbed Tressal there, wrestling with a horse. And yeah, you hear it now that your door's open.
Can I hear the howling thing too?
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like a cross between a wolf and a bear is what it sounds like.
That doesn't sound like something we want to meet outside.
Oh.
Let's get inside.
yep. I'm
Me-
gonna bring the horse in as well.
Can the horse fit the door?
Oh yeah.
A hand, because this thing does not. It doesn't speak
Tressal,
my
just-
language.
Have
Just
you asked
come
any questions? You gotta be kind to the horse. Okay.
I
Horse.
tried that too.
What? Your nails, your hooves, they're fabulous today. Really, really good job. You didn't have to do too much walking. Yeah, look at that little tail swish. You got a really good flick to it. And
The horse
with-
is like, oh yeah, I recognize Bineta. Yep, it's time. And against all belief, Ponmalar, you've had your whole life dealing with animals and creatures and beasts and things. Eljaal, not so much the problem with you, but definitely Tressal, you thought you could understand them. Nope, none of that matters. It's only the Sunfire elf. And so the horse trots up there, quite like, ducks its head, goes through the door, and into the room.
And close the door behind us.
And I reopen the door and come
No.
inside.
I'm sorry. I assumed you were inside. I wouldn't just close the door on you.
I actually love that. That's all the horses in. Good. Oh no, wait, the human.
oh, right,
Oh,
human.
there's still that human. Okay.
Because I'm just like sitting there like, how did that work? I guess horses aren't like elephants after all.
You wouldn't be able to fit the elephant in the room.
No, of course not. We have much bigger doorways. We have arches.
You have elephants.
Apparently, I wouldn't necessarily trust that, but that's what he says.
Do you eat the elephants too? So you seem to eat every type of animal.
I assume all humans just eat all meat. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah,
Horse,
that's-
cows, elephants,
like that.
Rhinos.
They're
I've
precious.
never had a rhino.
Wolves, beasts, bears, danger.
Right.
Ugh.
We should check that out. Is there a very clear way to get up a level to see outside?
Yeah, so what's happened is this room down is the basement or the ground floor of this tower. Like it's quite large. It's about as large as a very large living room. And then it's the sort of a circular tower, so it goes up like this. It has 2 more levels above it. The top level was where the balcony was. The middle level is probably where that woman went up before. You can get up the stairs, no problem. You can just run up the stairs and then emerge into the next level up. In fact, you can hear conversation going up there. The 3 men down here are looking at you like, what's going on, what's happening? They seem pretty clueless and also very drunk. So not a lot of help at this point.
Great.
So Eljaal, are you going to try and make your way up and see what's going on?
Yes, I'd like to get a better vantage point.
Okay. Upstairs, there is a whole bunch of beds have been spaced out kind of in a circular round the room. So they all kind of come out from the walls, right? This is a sleeping area. There are these very narrow arista type windows in here, which you could see out of if you wanted to try and look through, and they're between beds. There are also footlockers at the bottom of each of these beds. There's about a dozen beds up here, which is more than obviously necessary for this number of people, because there are 4 guards and this other one woman who is up here, who is the one we met earlier, the very large blonde one. Mm-hmm. She's here, and she's been talking to Riga, who is the woman who went upstairs, who've been dealing with the pigs. They stop as you arrive, and the woman looks at you, the tall blonde one looks at you and says, good. Moonshadow elves, very helpful.
Helpful? For what? What do you need help with?
We have a problem coming. Look, out the window.
I go to the window and look. Okay. Yeah, I'll go out and look.
Okay. You look out there and see coming through the darkness and all of the rain and the cold, and it's very hard to make out very much what's happening, but you've got very good elven vision. There are there's about 8-9 of these big lumbering things. The front of them is heavily muscled. It looks as if they've got shaggy fur all over them, and like their heads are very bear-like, but with huge wolf-like snouts. And at the back, their legs are like coiled springs of muscle, and they're just propelling them along. So they run like apes do. You know what I mean? Like the big front legs just propel them forward, and the back legs push them along. They have horns like sticking out of their head. They're kind of a velvety black, purplish black looking, and they all look just horrifying. You can't really tell what they are. You've never encountered anything like them, but they're moving in this direction. They're now maybe about a minute or 2 away from the stables and the caravan horses and things downstairs.
A minute or 2, you said?
Yeah, you've got about 60 seconds or so before they...
There's not enough time to
what
clear the area.
See?
Something very terrifying coming. I am actually... do I try to warn the people down in the... I think I should just be a diversion. I'm pretty acrobatic. Can I just jump from this tower and
Well, the arrowset's very narrow. You can't squeeze through, but you know
it's too small.
Balcony up top. So
okay.
If you go to the 3rd level is actually kind of open, right? It's got arches keeping it around, and you can see this is where the woman was standing before. Her name is Hild. She was watching out and seeing everything come before. When you get up here, you can see you can look down. It's actually quite tall and quite high, but you're very good at jumping off things and scaring stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, all right, whoever's brave enough, come outside with me. We're gonna be a distraction, and I'm gonna run up to the 3rd level.
The door is down there. The outside is down.
I know what I'm doing, and I'm just gonna run across and jump off the balcony.
Normally, they have terrible ideas, but this one I'm going to follow.
Let's go upstairs, Tressal.
I'll follow.
Take the stairs if you need to.
All right. Hild runs with you, although when she gets to the top, she doesn't jump off and do anything crazy. She just stands up there and she puts her hands on the edge of the parapet and looks down and sort of takes it all in a bit more. It seems as if she's used to directing things in the past. She may have in fact been a soldier or a commander in her life before, but clearly right now she's not. She's wearing the outfit of a caravan chief. So who's jumping out of this? Are you just all just leaping off? That seems like a very dangerous thing to do.
Sounds like a great idea. How else can you be the holder of justice? How do you protect people if you don't jump off parapets?
All right. Well, So the
I
buildings,
am most definitely not.
Ah!
Neither am I. I definitely shoot from long range, not
Okay.
get
Oh, there you
into.
Yeah,
Get
we're
into-
humans. We're like, you know what? Jumping off of buildings, dangerous. The
Mhm.
mysterious beasts, dangerous.
Also
We'll
dangerous.
stay back here.
all right. Well, okay. Let's just what I'm going to do this. I'm looking at the time and seeing that we've got a bit of time to do something else, but not a whole lot. I was going to have a whole challenge here, but I think what we'll do is we'll set that up, and then next time we'll join in and figure out how that goes. So the way to do that, maybe we'll do some rolls to see if we can create assets, which we can continue on for next time. So we'll go around the four of you, and each of you will create an asset with a test, and then you can name what that asset is. That is something that will help you, whether it's a plan or something you've grabbed or something you've acquired or something else. Assets can also be intangible. They don't have to be items. They can be like, this
Moral
is the best thing.
support. High ground.
Okay.
And when you create one,
Ah.
you can give it to someone else, and we'll record who gets those. But otherwise, you can keep it for yourself when you make them. So we'll start, I think, with Eljaal, because you are the one who's driving this and jumping off.
Okay.
You're going to try and do some sort of like heroic leap down off of this parapet. To give you further clarification, it's a 3-story tower.
Mhm.
You're on the 3rd story. The buildings below you are a story up, so you're dropping down a whole 1 level, right?
Mhm.
Easy. For you, no problem.
Yeah. Mhm.
So what is it you're trying to do to help set up for whatever's going to be this confrontation we get to next time?
Okay, so my idea is I want to drive these beasts away from where the people are, where the tents and wagons and caravan are, and also the people in the tower. So I want to, if I could just get some aerial knowledge as I'm like on the balcony about to jump, I just get an overview of the land and see, is there a good place to kind of drive them into a point where they can, there's a chokehold and we can like, I don't know, close them off or something like that.
Oh yeah, like a technical awareness, sort of a
Yeah.
snapshot of the area, right?
Uh-huh.
Very cool. Okay. These are all going to be 2d8 difficulties to establish these tests. So I'll start with that. Eljaal has no stress, so I won't have to worry about that. And I got a hit.
I do have stress unless we
Oh, right. You do.
we
Yeah.
had this is the same scene, right? So yeah,
Well,
I have a
it's
stress.
later on, but you haven't recovered it yet. So
Okay.
that was D8, and you had how much stress? D6 or D8?
D8 of exhausted
That's fine. I'll roll again.
because I got 2 hitches.
All right, so we'll say 9. 9 is what we got.
All right. Okay. So oh right, this isn't the jump. This is the like awareness, right?
Yeah. So this is
Okay.
going to be you saying, okay, let's take stock of what's here and take a quick
Mhm.
mental snapshot of what the tactical situation is for where to go, how to help people out, where to, what the vantage point is.
Exactly. Okay. So definitely awareness. And I think this is a devotion role for Eljaal. I am open to new bonds as I search for my path. We've met these new people, and yeah, protecting them is something that could be good for all of us.
Yeah.
So devotion. And then Moonshadow Elf. I feel like I have a good sense of like nature and landscapes and things like that from being a Moonshadow Elf.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then, yeah, I don't think my sword staff or sword play or even sneaking come into this because this is just more about what I'm seeing and like, yeah, devising. Okay. Oh, well, I didn't need it. I was gonna say my D6 of I know this place, but that might have just been a one-time use, right?
Yeah, that was a one-off use for that.
Okay.
But that's
Well, didn't need it. So
no,
yay.
definitely not. Now, your effect die tells us what size the asset's going to be, and you'll get to name this. This is going to be what you're going to call your snapshot or your advantage point. How you describe this asset?
I'm gonna say topography.
Topography. I love it. So make a note. Topography D8, and we'll have that ready for you next time.
All right.
Now, in true Cortex fashion, you get to choose who else goes next. So which of the other 3 members of our group are you going to have make their next test?
going to say my fellow elf because I know she is coming with me.
Oh yeah. Running as fast as possible. Okay, so my direction that I want to take for this asset, like, is me in being intimidating? Like, is that a qualifier for this?
Yeah, well, you could work up some kind of like, I'm going to be scary as heck and sort of put on a, this is my battle mode sort of thing. If you really
Pull
feel
out their sword that is just glowing. And most beasts don't like fire as a rule. Fire hurts. So they're just like charging with this glowing blade, and I want that to inspire.
Of fear.
Yes, so much fear. I want to evoke it. I want to inspire it.
You'll get to use your Sunforge blade in this pool too, because you're actually using it as an asset. It just isn't being directed.
Oh, very
So
nice.
I will clear my roll and roll again. Let me
thank
tell
you.
you how much I'm going to get, so you can tell me how you do. 13. Ooh, 13.
Was
I
there
gotta
any
make it
stress
hard.
here either?
Oh,
Oh,
that's
I
fine.
had so much stress.
Oh man, I get to pick one of them. So actually, it's 3d8s. Your
And
insecurity.
maybe
is
now he'll roll less.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
insecure at the D8, and I was also angry at a D6.
Yeah, but I can only use one stress at a time,
Cool.
and I will typically go with the one that makes most sense. I think in this case, being insecure will sort of maybe hinder you a
Yeah.
bit from that.
I'm really trying to
but
prove
not so.
myself, and not being able to do that is going to take a hit to my emotional stability.
And as predicted by Melly, I did roll less, so I got 11.
Hey, better chance for me to succeed.
Apparently, I'm somehow in control of the dice today.
I think that's so. You've got strength because you're tough.
Definitely, because I'm tough and I'm charging with my sword. I feel like justice. My great might represents defense and not destruction, because I'm throwing myself out there primarily to defend my allies.
If you get a hitch, can that be what it is?
My little headpiece just falls out like, okay, can't see. Who am I hitting? We might need that moment.
I do want to bring up, you have a special effect which is called Heat Being.
Tell me about that.
What it does is you can make yourself angrier, but you can step up your strength and agility, I think.
Yes, please.
And for the duration of the challenge. So you'll get it throughout the next session while we do the challenge.
You'll just
too.
record that you'll be at D10 strength and
Ooh.
I think D10 agility too. But it will make it easier.
Steps up both strength and agility, but you do get D8 of angry.
Okay. So I'm
which
going
will
to up
make
my
your
anger.
D6 become D8.
Yeah.
So let's do that, huh?
Okay. So then am I adding
Well, you just, if you see how your strength is in your dice pool already, there should be a button where you can make it go up.
Oh, look at that. Boop.
Now,
Done
when this
deal.
happens, your body, like your skin becomes a little bit darker, but the lines of sort of volcanic magma lines come through your like veins of heat as you get more like magma sort of features. It's really cool. And only Sunfire elves can do this. And not all of them can. Most of the ones that can do it are people like you, Knights of Luxoria.
Nice. Makes me feel
So that's
strong.
also going to add to this scariness.
Oh, that's so perfect. And then can I add a specialty of swordplay?
Yeah, I think I'll let you have that. Which distinction are you going to roll in here? Is it the Knight one or Sunfire?
I feel like knight
Mhm.
feels really good. All right, does that look great?
You've got one more left to do, which is a value.
Oh, oops. Scroll. Oh, I worded out what I wanted to do. I really want to do justice.
Okay, love it.
Yeah, protection. Okay, I got
Wow,
this.
that's really impressive there, B.
I got this. Watch, I'm gonna fail.
That is a pretty nice dice pool.
I can't look. Oh my god, no! I mean,
But
the
do you
effect
have
is
plot
nice.
points?
You do have a plot point.
How do I use those again?
So you spend a plot point. You can move one of the dice from that are left over, like that 3, if you see the 3.
Yep.
You can drag it into your total to make it 14. You can't drag hitches off the pool because they're already taken up by being ones.
Okay.
But you can do that. So that's one thing you can do. Also, plot points you can spend to create temporary assets like the one I said before you had, which is like a D6. Spend a plot point
Whoa.
to get it. But in this
Okay.
case, it's more useful for you to drag that die.
Abso-heckin-lutely.
I'm going to give you that plot point back by activating the hitch because I love activating hitches.
Woohoo.
I'm going to put your angry up to 10.
Oh, dang. Red hot anger.
It went up to D8 because your heat being went up, and it now a D10 as I put it up for the hitch. You're getting madder and madder and madder. So be careful.
Oh, I'm gonna explode.
But you have a D8 asset. What are you going to call that? The Beacon of Fear is what you said?
Yes, Beacon of Fear.
Okay. Maybe, Melly, you can also take record of this for record keeping if you don't mind. Topography D8, Beacon of Fear D8. Excellent. Fantastic. Yeah, you look really scary. I know you're on the edge of the parapet here too, and swords out like this. Yeah, you'll carry that with you into the next session.
Yes.
So, who's going next? Tressal or Ponmalar? You get to choose.
Let's do Ponmalar. I feel like that ranger biz can come in handy now.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
All right. So Ponmalar, you're using this to create some sort of asset which you will use for the actual challenge when it comes up next week. But what you can do is all kinds of things. For basically, you're preparing or setting up the scene. If you would like, you can still use the arrows. You can sort of shoot warning shots or something else and be intimidating the way that Bineta was. Or you may have other ideas. What do you want to do?
Well, I really want to use my archery skills to kind of protect my allies on the ground.
Okay. So no one's down the ground yet, right? They're all upstairs still with you.
Could it be like preparing cover fire? You know, so that's still using your archery and that gets you that idea, but it is still a preparation thing.
Actually, yes, you could set up arrows all around here ready to go for when you want to do that. That's another way of doing it. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, okay. You're getting ready for a hail of archery. By the way, your arrows are enormous. Like you've got these huge, big swamp arrows.
They're like spear size, right?
Yeah, they're like javelins. I mean, perfect size for dealing with massive, big bear wolfy things.
Yeah.
I feel like the arrows are heavier than Tressal.
Yes.
Probably.
I hate to mention it again, Cam. Is there any stress?
Oh gosh, I love it. Yes, there is some stress from Ponmalar. Oh, you're really angry. I don't think that's going to get in your way. I think the exhaust is what really going to be a problem. You being mad is not going to make it harder for you to set yourself up for violence because that's just fine. But being a bit exhausted will be. So I'll put those two in there, and that. And if I roll lower again, okay, good. 12.
Okay. So my stuff attributes. I'm going to use agility because that seems. And then I want to use liberty, which is I'm done fighting for nations. I'm here for myself and my friends.
Good. Yep.
And then watchful. Expatriate. Is that how you pronounce that? And then I can use archery for my specialties. Right?
Yep.
Okay, and then heavy bow, because that's my asset.
Yeah.
May I offer an assist? Fenway, would you accept?
Sure.
So one thing that something you can do to help somebody outside of your turn, you could like spend a plot point and create an asset, but you can also step down one of your values to step up one of their values. It has to be the same one. So for me, it would have to be liberty. So I'd step down my liberty. I have a D8. I put it to a D6 that you can step yours up for this role. And I think for me, because I'm getting a feel for the value of my independence. I think like outside, I was just like, oh, I can figure this out on my own. And then immediately knew that there is no way I would die right now if I didn't have these other people with me. And so maybe I'm realizing that, okay, I need to get some backup on this. I also need to help. So I'm kind of up here giving a little bit of like extra positioning based on what I experienced outside. I'm going to step down that liberty to a 6 so you can have a step up on yours.
Oh, thank you.
Now you should get to click that D. Yeah, you did. Fantastic. That's a lot of really good dice. I think you have a good chance here. If you roll a whole bunch of ones, it's not my fault. It's definitely Nellie's fault.
Okay, well, Melly, I hope it's not your fault.
She's covering her eyes. Well,
Oh.
you know,
Oh, yes.
that's really good. That's a D12 asset. Hey, you succeeded. You beat this 12 with a 16. There is an option for you. You've got lots of plot points. You could use one of them to roll in that 5
Would
to
love
your
to.
total. That would then give you a heroic success. You could also put the 3 in with a second plot point and then have a double heroic success. The reason you do this is because, I'll tell you in a second, when you get a heroic success, it steps up your effect die by 1 step. And if you step it up by 1 step, what happens then is, if it's already D12, it creates a new effect die, a second one, and this will be a D6.
And then if I did the
So
double
that'll become
heroic
a D8
success,
with the double. Mhm.
great.
So that'll mean you'll have a D12 effect die and a D8 effect die, which are both amazing, and you can give one to someone else if you wanted to, or keep both for yourself. I don't know if you want.
I would love to give the D12 to Tressal.
Oh,
You should keep your D12. Keep your D12 because I'm actually going to be giving you another thing. So give me the tiny one.
Okay, I'll give the D8 to Tressal.
all right, what asset is this? It's just it's a secondary thing. Anything else you-
Yeah, so first one was preparing cover fire. The second one can be any ideas?
Maybe it's just like a thing of like, okay, maybe you're not so bad, like a nod of respect for the info I gave you.
Sure,
Like
maybe
we
you're
have
not
some
so
like
bad.
common ground.
Mhm.
I also like that it could be like, turn around and say, you got this, to Tressal.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. And the D12 is a cover fire setup. Very, very good. Last but not least, Tressal.
Yeah, I had a couple ideas and now I don't know which one I want to do. Because you got that D12 now, so I think I want to make an asset for somebody else. I was going to make you an asset, but now I'm going to give somebody else one. What I would like to do is, I see that the elves are down there, and I'm like, I bet I could just make my fire just convincing enough in the heat of battle that they're not going to connect, that maybe it's dark. I'm going to give it a try. I feel like maybe they'll thank me. They'll see that dark magic is totally fine. Because I would like to make some more dancing flames, but I would like to kind of go down and kind of act as extra beacons around Bineta to kind of create this almost dizzying effect that I know as a Sunfire elf, she'll probably not have a problem with, but those creatures who seem to be nocturnal might have a bigger problem with.
That's good.
So I'm going to use my intellect. I'm going to spend a plot point, of course, to create a magical creature asset.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, it is not those fireflies because I want these to be a little bit bigger. So I think this is an emberback spider. It's one of my larger things, but I do carefully take it out. I think I just take like some of its legs and some eyes. I don't want to use it all. I'm trying to be conservative. It's a little gross, but you know.
A little gross?
What you gotta do.
Yeah, it's like, how about a lot gross? All right.
And what is the difficulty I'm going up against, Cam?
Oh, it's right. I haven't given you that yet.
And I have
You have some
D6
stress.
afraid.
Yeah, you're a little bit afraid, so that's going to make it a little bit harder for you. You are going to have to try and beat a 10.
Okay. I was hoping you'd give me an opportunity to make my spiders better, but that's fine. It's fine. This is going to be mastery. I'm better at what I do. Most people like to make a show of it because I am very much like, I can prove to them that dark magic, totally chill. They should show me some respect for it. I'm not going to hide it. And then this is going to be my dark acolyte distinction, dark magic specialty, and my dark magic spells. And the asset that Ponmalar gave me, that you got this confidence. And I'm like, you're right. I shouldn't be ashamed of myself. Instead of taking it that as like, I can do something, I'm like, oh yeah, dark magic. It's totally great. Not just for kids' parties anymore.
Almost never for kids' parties, to be honest.
I don't know what kids' parties you're going to. I want to just make this real good. I'm going to spend a plot point. throw that out
Awesome.
to 20. So that's a double heroic success, right?
Yeah.
And is that adding effect dice from my pool, or is it stepping up my effect die?
No,
Or
it's just that
choice.
your effect die
Great.
to D12.
Cool. So I give a D12 to Bineta, which is just going to be that there are these dancing flames that she can utilize.
Something to be aware of too, you can have multiple assets in your pool. So having topography and the dancing flames will both work for you, Bineta. Actually, not topography, the beacon of fear and the
Beacon of
flames.
fear.
They
Yeah.
will both contribute.
Awesome.
You got a hitch. I'm going to give you a plot point for that, Tressal, and I'm
Cool.
going to step up your afraid to D8. Even though you did a such a fantastic job, it's terrifying.
I will also say, I mean, if you want, you can give me corrupted for that because I use dark magic.
Oh, that's right. Yes. That's even better. Thank you for
Yeah.
reminding me. You feel the dark magic flowing through you with this impressive array of stuff you've done through, and then, yeah, your eyes go a little bit purple around the outside of your eyes, a little darker.
I think it's
Briefly.
also like just a physical effect that I notice is like, you know, when you're really kind of feeling photosensitive with like a headache, like the dark seems so much darker and like the lights of Bineta and that I just made seem so much brighter.
Yep.
And so I'm going to duck down under the parapet. They got this.
Yes. All right. And so that was all of you. And then the last thing we will do before we leave for us is you've got yourselves ready. You've got the covering fire. You've got Ponmalar with arrows all spaced around and just even sending a couple out there just to get in front. You've got Eljaal taking the stock of the situation, having an amazing situation, you know, painted before you. You know where all the hiding places will be, you know where to go. Bineta, the Sunforged blade rose above your head. You've got this whirling, you know, series of purple lights and Sunfire things coming out of you. And Tressal, you've been working this magic and, you know, seeing the whole effect play out, starting to feel that dark magic come into you as well. Then from behind you, because you haven't been looking that way, something clambers up the side of the parapet, and it is bigger than them. It is hairier than them. It has more horns than them. It is like a mama bear version of that. And it roars, and that's where we cut it.
Oh no!
We definitely should have jumped off the parapet.
Oh yeah, Tressel's like, you know, jumping off a top floor of a tower seems like a great idea now. Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Oh my goodness, Cam. Delightful. One more time, you can pre-order Tales of Xadia right now. You can instantly access rules, tales, characters like the ones we played here today at talesofxadia.com. The book releases in 2022. Thank you to the folks at Wonderstorm and Netflix for allowing us to tell stories in the world of the Dragon Prince, providing us with some extra fun lore that we got to play with, and some other delightful things. You can watch all 3 seasons that are currently available of that show right now over on Netflix. And of course, thank you to this cast. Let's figure out where you can find them on the internet. Cam Banks, our wonderful narrator.
You can find me at Boy Monster on Twitter, Rusty Sellsword on Instagram. You can also find me at the Discord for Cortex RPG many times in a day, and you can ask us all kinds of questions there.
Absolutely. Fenway Jones.
Everyone, I'm Fenway Jones, also known as Fenway the Teen DM on Twitter and at Jasper's Game Day and all of the social medias. You can find me there, or you can find more about Jasper's Game Day at jaspersgameday.com.
Yeah, we love Jasper's Game Day here. B. Zelda.
Yes, hello. As always, I am your non-binary busy bee. You can find me on Twitter as at @B_Zelda. I'm a podcaster, streamer, and on the off chance you do want to talk to me on Discord, hop over onto the D&D Wizards Discord because I manage the Adventurers League community there.
Excellent. Eliza Pearl.
Yes, hello. I'm Elisa Pearl, ALIZA Pearl on Twitter and Instagram. And I run games, I play games, I'm an actor, an improviser. You can find me on my socials, but yeah, I guess my next stream is tomorrow. I'm doing a fundraiser for a nonprofit called Emmy Action, and it is a advocacy group for oh goodness, I always say it wrong. It's myoencephalitis. I may be saying that wrong. It's what used to be called chronic fatigue syndrome. And so we're doing a fundraiser for this organization. We're going to be playing a D&D one-shot. So definitely check that out. It's going to be 5 p.m. over on Emmy Action Network, their new Twitch channel.
Awesome. Fantastic. And I'm Melly Doucette. You can hit me up on Twitter at MellyDM or find me also, like Cam, on the Cortex Discord. We will be back next week with episode 2 of our holiday special, and you'll also be able to find Tales of Xadia at PAX Unplugged. Check out our Twitter at Cortex RPG for more info on that next week. Till then, thank you all. Stay safe. And, check behind you for horned bears, I guess. Thanks, everybody.